Greetings and welcome to our series of weekly devotionals. Today we're wrapping up our look at a few short verses in the first book of Kings, chapter 19. I was at a clergy convocation years ago, and I was speaking with another pastor. And we were talking about ministry, and he asked me how things were going, and I was describing some of the things I was doing in the church. And he said to me after a couple minutes, "It sounds like you're burned out." And I said, "Oh, really? Why? Why do you think that?" He said, "Well, because I'm burned out and I recognize all the symptoms." Now, I can't speak for his experience, but I don't think that I'm burned out, at least not yet. But clergy burnout, I've read in articles and different reports, is definitely a problem. Many clergy members do experience all kinds of burnout, and the remedy for that, for them and for all those engaged in ministry, of course, is some rest and some Sabbath time, and for some, a change of scenery, getting a change of pace, and for many clergy, getting out of ministry altogether. I mentioned that conversation because most scholars suggest that in these verses that we read about Elijah, it's pretty apparent that he's suffering from clergy burnout. Verse 7 reads, "The angel of the Lord came a second time, touched him and said, 'Get up and eat, otherwise the journey will be too much for you.' He got up and ate and drank, and then he went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mount of God." Yeah. These verses point out to us God's remedy for prophetic burnout. And it's not rest. It's calling Elijah forward into ministry and giving him new tasks and calling upon him to continue in the journey. Now, I don't mean to suggest that if we're experiencing burnout in ministry that we shouldn't get rest. Of course we should. But I think these verses do remind us of something important. That something that God reminded Elijah in his state of exhaustion and fatigue and depression, that the future of his prophetic ministry did not rely on him, that the future was in God's hands, and that the future of God transcended his human limitations. And so if we're experiencing some difficulties and some exhaustion, of course, get some rest and take some Sabbath. But remember that the future of our ministry and the success or failure of our accomplishments, the future rests not in our hands, but in the control of God, who transcends our burnout or any of our limitations. And in God's future is in God's control. Amen.